So yeah, you could just qualify it so for
Yeah.
those that don't know what it means.
Yeah.
All right. So what was the sentence?
ADC,
Yeah, what was the sentence in which that?
Natha Singh. Natha Singh, his father, was ADC to Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who was the Khalsa Raj Maharaja from Lahore. And Natha Singh fought a lot of battles, annexing a lot of territories for the Maharaja, alongside Hari Singh Nalwa, who was the greatest general, Sikh general of that time. So eventually, with the advent of time, all this was finished, and the British took over the Lahore kingdom. So what was happening was all the Toshakana, all the jewelry and all the valuables were kept in a place where they were being stolen by soldiers from the British Raj. So Dr. Logan, who was at the time, he was deputed to make the list and to recover things, deputed Natha Singh to have him located all the things which he did. And eventually, he managed to, by this time, all this was happening. The 1857 mutiny happened. And Natha Singh, along with, they were by this time part of the British Army, the regiment called the Sherdal Platoon, and they quelled 1857 mutiny in Delhi. So Ram Singh was very much of the same background. He saw his great-grandfather also, who was part of the Sikh, before the Sikh kingdom fought against the Mughal army. So it was in his blood to fight and to be a good soldier and all that stuff. So by 15 years of age, he asked his father to enroll him in the army, which he did at Patiala Maharaja's service. But soon he realized that it's not to be, and he thought that he cannot flourish himself in the army or go up in ranks if he stayed in the army there. So one weekend he came to Sunam, which is our village, and there was a recruitment going on for the 15th Sikh Regiment sepoys. So he went there for enrollment, and the appointing officer, he said, "No, you can't, because you are not a Jat Sikh. You are a Kamboj." So he said, "It's not fair. You have to employ people on the basis of their capability, not on the basis who you are as a person of whatever caste." So the officer said, "Okay, I'll put aside all my conditions, and if you can wrestle one of the strongest contender in today's enrollment, then I'll employ you." So they had a wrestling match, and Ram Singh put him down on the floor within no time. So he enrolled him, and he was the first non-Jat Sipahi in the 15th Sikh Regiment. So he, with passage of time, he rose in ranks, and by 1902 he was here on the coronation of King Edward VII. So he had a good time here, which we'll talk later on. But he eventually he went back in 1903, and then he was made a Subedar Major in 67th newly formed regiment, which was under the Lord Kitchener's amalgamation of armies. So eventually he retired from the army. But at the same time, before he retired, he was the first ADC to Lord Minto, the Governor General of India, who was stationed in Simla at that time. In summer, the Governor General would go to Simla for cold weather, that sort of thing. So after he retired from the army, he went, Maharaja Bhupinder Singh, the Maharaja of Patiala, he came to ask him if he could be his military advisor and transform his army according to the British standards, and which he did. And he stayed up to 12 years with, until 1912. He stayed with there, and then he retired from Maharaja's services, but he wasn't to sit home. He wanted to do for his society as well, for his community. So eventually, along with other Sikh leaders, there was a lot of things going on with the Sikh temples, and a lot of corruption there. And so they wanted to, reorganize the whole system where people are not just siphoning of money from people who are giving donations, but be spent on the community. So they formed the Sikh Supreme Body, which is called Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee, SGPC, and he was the first vice president. And he fought against the government control of these priests who wouldn't give it readily. And the British government had some control as well, but eventually they relented, and then all was given back to with the Sikh community. So he has done a lot of work in relation to community and to the army, and he was very well respected as a soldier and as a person as well. And he was given the Order of British India and IOM, which meant he was to be called Sardar Bahadur Ram Singh. Also, the British Army gave him 125 acres of land in Sargodha in Pakistan as a thank you for him. So this is in a nutshell all about who this person, my great-grandfather, was.
What year was that when they gave the land in present-day Pakistan? Roughly?
It was in on his retirement in 2012.
So recently?
Yes.
And how old would he have been?
Retirement age, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
I can tell you.
Don't worry, it was just a curiosity.
Right.
Necessary. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So obviously it's a story that spans much more than one lifetime.
Of course.
Within the lifetime, is there a specific story that captured your imagination particularly, or that you most enjoyed learning, reading, or writing about?
Of course.
Go on.
It's very interesting. When he marched here in 1902, in June, I think, and they were stationed here in this magnificent palace. So after the first week or so, King Edward VII came here to meet his troops. So all went well, and they were introduced, and Ram Singh was introduced to the King Emperor as well. And on the second visit, they hit upon a friendship with each other. So it happened so much that when the coronation was finished and the troops were to go back, he was ordered to come and stay in Buckingham Palace, which he did. And he stayed about 3 months there. And every so often when the king had time, he would call him, summon him, talk about his experiences and learn more about the Indian way and how the army in India is all working and the working of the whole system. And that's where he developed friendship with the Prince of Wales, who later became King George V. So eventually he went back to India, and then he was in Maharaja's services, and the Delhi Darbar happened. So Maharaja, to make himself look grand and all, he asked Captain Ram Singh to come and join him for the audience. So they went to see King George, and the audience started, and after 5 minutes or so, the equerry to the king told Maharaja that your time was up, and you have to go now for others. And when Captain Ram Singh got up, he was told that he needs to sit, much to the amazement of Maharaja. So he spent another 45 minutes with the King George, reminiscing about their time here in London and that sort of thing. So he was very well respected, and that was the way at that time, and that caught my attention. And I found this in his diaries, which he wrote, and I mentioned in my book as well about all this.
What an amazing discovery to find an actual diary.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Is that available? Where is that?
I have the diaries with me, and I have his father's diaries as well. So Natha Singh was the one who brought Kohinoor diamond to Bombay. It wasn't Lord Dalhousie who carried all the way to Bombay, but because he was trusted so much by the British that Kohinoor diamond stayed in our house for 7 days in our village. So before it was taken on the same train, Lord Dalhousie was going. So this was all part of their experiences.
Brilliant, thank you.
Right.
Really good. So his identity at the time as an Indian serving in the British Army.
Yeah.
I'm presumably after his status had been elevated to captain.
Yeah.
What was his perception of himself as an Indian or British representative, if you like?
To sum up what was his identity, I would say he was soldier through and through. So as a soldier, he was to listen to the orders of his seniors. That did not make any difference whether they were from a different culture or different race. So he fought many battles across around the years in India and to Sudan as well, and he went to many places. He was well decorated as well. But at the same time, he didn't forget that what was his identity, knowing his father and his forefathers and the history behind the family, that he was a Indian and a Sikh and also a warrior as well. So he never forgot his own true identity as a person.
And in the inverse of that, he was obviously well respected.
Yes.
Effectively, he could have been in the court of the king.
Yes.
He was invited to stay. He was invited to sit down when the Maharaja was not.
Yes.
So he was clearly respected at the highest levels.
Yeah.
What frictions, if those were all the positives, what might have been the negatives about how he was perceived by the British soldiers?
Well, he was kept in very high esteem at the army level. So much so that he led by his example. He did not just stood behind his men, but he led them from the front and setting examples for doing the work, how the military should operate and how the things should happen. And also let me think.
Leading by example, being respected by soldiers.
Yeah.
Not asking others to do that which he would not do himself.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
So start again, or
No, we can continue.
or you can continue.
Yeah, it was. We can. Well, shall I go on to the next question, or do you?
No, I can.
Yeah.
So what happened? When he come back from London, he was transferred to 67th Punjabi Regiment, which was a newly formed regiment. And commanding officer of the regiment was Colonel G.W. Maxwell. And he was in such a awe of his experience and his soldiery that when the regimental pictures were taken, he made Captain Ram Singh to sit in the middle rather than himself. So he was that sort of officer. And I have pictures to prove that he sat in the middle of the regimental pictures where all the officers and the men sat.
Fantastic. And I'm really curious about how I'm going to incorporate the pictures into the film.
Yeah.
If that's appropriate, because you don't want to cannibalize the exhibition itself.
Of course.
By showing everything in the film.
Yeah, Munira was saying that if I sent you the pictures or Munira, then...
Yeah, so
Yeah.
but there'll probably be some discussion about where it's best for them to really
Sure,
see.
sure.
Maybe I can zoom in to the picture in a way that
Yes.
we can't necessarily in the
Of
exhibition.
course, yeah.
But thank you for sending. So you said that when he came to Hampton Court Palace, then he was taken to Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
He wasn't part of the soldiers that were here for the coronation, was he?
No, he was part of the soldiers. He was, in fact, he brought a contingent of 15th Sikh Regiment.
But wait, there were two coronations, right?
No, this is 1902.
So this is King Edward VII.
King Edward VII coronation.
And then King George V was much later.
That was, when that time he was in India, and then the Delhi Darbar happened,
Yes,
and
okay.
all that.
So what do you know specifically about his time here? For context, we'll say that it was for the coronation of King Edward VII. But is there anything else that you know?
Well, yes, of course. When he was here, he along with his soldiers, because...
Sorry, for context, can we say where here is when he was at Hampton Court Palace?
Yes, I'm talking about Hampton Court Palace.
No, but we want to hear it so that the audience hearing you will understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
When he was here at Hampton Court Palace, when he started to bring his contingent, he was ordered to take the most educated and the most smartest and most tallest soldiers to impress the British here. So the diary says that he brought all soldiers, Jawans, as they call in India, 6'2", 6'3". They had a new uniform which was created for them to be brought here. And when they came here, the aristocracy or the high gentry of this country were so impressed that they were being invited like celebrities around to their estates and to their, mansions and all that stuff for dinners and other parties, and widely photographed. So this is how they experienced this part of the palace.
And do you know Hampton Court Palace well yourself?
Yes, I do.
So, explain the connection, other than the factual one in that he was here and you were here.
Yeah.
What sense of ownership and visceral connection do you feel to Hampton Court Palace, and why?
Well, you're talking about my personal connection. I give you a little example. My grandfather, who was 95 years old in 1995, asked my father that would he take me to London where my father was. That means he was talking about Captain Ram Singh. So my father flew him here. So we took special permission to take him to Buckingham Palace to show him, which the Queen's staff, they very nicely agreed to go and visit the place. And then we came down to Hampton Court Palace. He wanted to see where his father lived and how he spent his time. So he went around the whole Hampton Court Palace here, and after a week or so, he says, I think I've seen enough, let's go back home. So there was some sort of connection between him and through him our connection with this place.
Good. So I'm wondering if we've answered this question already. The moments that stand out. I'll ask it and see if you feel that we've answered it, we can move on. What is it that makes you most proud about him? And it doesn't have to be militarily, it could be personally, character-wise, whatever it is.
Sure. He was a very brave soldier. Even I've got a book here which was published in 1914, which says that he was famous in the British Army for his bravery. He was a brave, but at the same time, he was a very generous person and very kind person. And he did a lot of work for the community. And also, this is in 1947, when we had the partition of India, he was still alive. And there was a little girl of 7 years old, which was, the Sikhs were killing Muslims and Muslims were killing Sikhs. And the girl was saved and brought home. And my great-grandfather told my grandmother that treat her like your own daughter and keep her and don't let any harm come to her. So people used to come to take her out and kill her, but they saved. And she stayed in our house just due to his generosity and kindness that he felt about her. And then my grandfather, located the family back in Pakistan and reunited them back there. And luckily enough, we lost connection with the family, but in March I located them back in Pakistan and we went to meet them. So this is all because of Captain Ram Singh. Had he not allowed her to live on the day as others wanted her to be killed, this wouldn't have happened. So this is how I feel about his generosity of life.
Absolutely. It's a whole other family that he's essentially he was responsible for preserving.
Yes, of course.
That's very important. Okay. So having been here, having arguably experienced more grandeur and acceptance at higher levels than any of the Sikh soldiers that we've spoken about throughout all of these interviews.
Sure.
How do you think he might feel about this exhibition?
I suppose he'll be very proud. I mean, if he's around here and he's seeing what we are talking about, or we are talking about other soldiers who had contributed for the country, for the Britain and the Commonwealth and the Empire, he would be extremely happy to note that we are still appreciating their sacrifices, which happened long time ago. And it's not just him; it's all the other soldiers of the Empire who gave away their lives. Even the youngest of the soldiers, they never went home back to their families. So he would be very pleased that we are still talking about them. And in a grand place like Hampton Court Palace.
Thank you. Especially thank you for the end, because I know it will make Hampton Court
Palace
very happy to hear
the
mention of the palace. Okay, so I'm not sure, maybe I'm confident you've got an answer to this question on the tip of your tongue. If you could ask him one question about anything at all, war, family, health, anything,
Sure.
What would it be?
You see, I was 6 years too late to meet him. But if he is around here today in this place, first of all, I'm not going to ask him anything. I'm going to give him a biggest hug, if I could give. And then I will ask him to show me his footsteps, to how he reached where he was, so that I can walk in my little humble way. So this is the only thing I'm going to ask him.
That was quite beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hear that. Okay. I think we've come to the end of my questions. Is there anything that you think we missed, that more about personally your connection with him in life?
I think I'm quite comfortable with what we talked about.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yes,
I am
of
too.
course.
This bit is a little less comfortable.
Sure.
The next stage, which I apologize for in advance.
That's okay.
Thank you. Can we tilt down a little? Small tilt. There? Yeah. Lower. That's fine. Thank you. Okay. So you can finish this sentence.
Sure.
I would like to tell you about my great-grandfather and and then give his name.
I would like to tell you about my great-grandfather, Captain Ram Singh, OBI.
Okay, and what we'll do is we'll try and keep the eyes focused on here.
Sure.
After you
Oh,
speak.
sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I know it's difficult with a person
Yeah.
you're speaking to.
Yeah.
Right, so I'd like to tell you about
I would like to tell you about my great-grandfather, Captain Ram Singh, OBI.
1 second, I have a reflection in your glasses. I can do that.
Shall I take the glasses
No,
on?
don't worry.
Okay.
It's just that's fine. Yeah. And I can accept that's on the edge, right?
Yeah, we can move it because it's quite dark on that side.
With this.
Move the whole thing to just on this side of the camera. I don't think it will change it like that much.
I think it'll just go on and try it. It'll just move the reflection.
Possibly, we can try that.
Just there. Just inside.
Yeah.
Oh, good job. Perfect. Thank you. Alright, one more time. And to that.
Yeah. I would like to tell you about my great-grandfather, Captain Ram Singh, OBI.
Your eyes were kept flicking. It's difficult actually to
Okay.
stick in one place. And one more time.
I would like to tell you about my great-grandfather, Captain Ram Singh, OBI.
Take it a little taller and we won't repeat
Yes, okay.
it. It will be one because it was
Yeah.
just on the edge.
I think if I could just angle it down slightly as well, that'll cut off the just squareness of it. Does that
Okay.
work?
Yeah. All right. The next one is. I'll just give you the sentence in chunks.
Sure.
We're celebrating the contributions made.
We are celebrating the contribution we made.
The contributions made.
We're celebrating the contributions made.
I think you need to feel more celebratory.
Okay.
We're celebrating.
We're celebrating the contribution made.
One more time.
We are celebrating the contributions made
By South Asian, Sikh, Muslim, and Hindu troops
by South Asian, Hindu, Sikh, and Muslim troops
to the British Empire.
to the British Empire,
Great. Across the former empire and Commonwealth.
across the former Empire and Commonwealth,
One more time.
across the former Empire and Commonwealth,
Sorry, did you not need him in the middle?
No, I remember we went on the third, didn't we? Yeah. One more time. Across the former empire and Commonwealth.
across the former Empire and Commonwealth,
Countless stories of bravery,
countless stories of bravery,
honor, and sacrifice sit uncovered.
honor, and sacrifice sit uncovered.
One more time. Honor and sacrifice sit uncovered.
Honor and sacrifice sit uncovered.
Thank you. Today we have just a few of these stories to share with you.
Today we have few of these stories to share with you.
One more time. Today we have just a few of these stories to share with you.
Today we have just the few of these stories to share with you.
Lovely. And stories that we hope
Stories that we hope
will broaden ideas about empire
will broaden ideas about empire
and the deep connections many of us share.
and deep connections many of us share.
And the deep connections many of us share.
Sorry, say it again.
And the deep connections
Okay, and the deep connections many of us share
through the sacrifices made by our relatives.
through the sacrifices made by our relatives.
Good. Now, what's your favourite hip-hop song?
Hold on, Kwame, sorry, Kwame. You did actually get that bravery on that. That was definitely.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, because I bounced between. What's your favourite hip-hop song?
I have none.
What's your favourite pop song?
Pop song? Well, I don't know.
Because we need everyone to sing a song.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry.
Listen, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It is nice to meet you.